Hey, it's Lisa and Josh Canning from Persevere Together. And in today's video, we want to talk about how to boost your mood when you might be feeling depressed.
By the way, I'm so impressed with you because Lisa's mood was not very high before jumping on this. So I'm really impressed that we're just going live. So kudos to this one. But yes, this is, I think, an important topic. A little while ago, I saw a video. I'll link it below after the stream. But it was a little bit misleadingly titled, but it said how to immediately overcome depression. Now, if you're in a major depressive disorder, you're probably not immediately overcoming depression, but it's essentially 5 tips on how to boost your mood when you're feeling really, really low. And that's what we're going to talk about today. It's not going to be a very long stream, but we're going to talk about things that we do. Myself with depression, Lisa, experiencing the simple reality of we all sometimes feel depressed. And we're going to talk about what we do to feel better. Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
So very, very practical. We're just going to each share. We're going to just kind of go back and forth and share some tips. I've had a very, very low morning, like probably the lowest morning I've had in a very long time. Mm-hmm. I'm normally pretty peppy and can find the bright side of any situation. But this morning I'm pretty low. So I was like, okay, well, do we honor this commitment and do this live? And there are times when you don't. There are times when you need to pause and whatnot. But today I kind of was like, you know what, let's actually just talk about how when you feel like you can't go on and yet you might have to because there's a small child who needs you or you need to go make money for your family. Like I thought actually it would be very practical. Mm-hmm. So yeah. For me, I think a phrase that I will use often is you don't have to trust this feeling. So it's just a very practical sentence that I kind of pull out of my pocket, so to speak. Like, you don't have to trust this feeling. As a mindset coach, there are things that I teach my clients to sort of ponder. Is this really true? So let me just use an example. This morning, I was like, I cannot get out of bed. Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, is it really true you can't get out of bed? Like if you have to go to the bathroom, you're probably going to get up, or like if the kids start crying, like you're probably going to get up, right? So it's not really true that you can't get out of bed. And so just this notion, just very, very practically, like you don't have to trust this feeling was my first practical tip. Now, what about you?
I like that one. One of the ones that this doctor who experienced depression gave, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name at the moment, but I think the first one was one thing you could do to immediately boost your mood a little bit is to clean up. And clean up, he used the example of himself. Simply the reality is for those who've experienced depression, you might notice changes in your, let's just say, diligence around personal hygiene. Perhaps you're feeling so tired and you're lying around a lot. So you might not even be thinking about taking a shower and brushing your teeth. But simply doing that does make you think a little bit differently. Now I don't smell bad, He also applied it to your environment, right? So this office at the moment, can't see off camera. It's a little bit cluttered. After this, I'm going to tidy it up so it looks a little better, and that's going to have a little bit of an impact on my mindset. So, cleaning up would be one thing you can do to boost your mood a little bit. Do you have any other ones? I got some more.
I have so many. I wish that I remembered them a little bit more in the moment, but to be grateful for what you do have, and this is not to negate or to kind of dismiss that you might be having a very negative situation that you're navigating. So not in a sort of like Pollyanna, like see the bright side at the expense of acknowledging that you are having a hard time, but to just ground yourself in reality. So what I like to do is just literally be like, sometimes I do it in the mirror. Like, you are married to Josh. You've got 10 beautiful kids. You have a beautiful home that you live in. You have the opportunity to go to daily mass today. Like just sort of like state things that are your reality. I'm getting choked up even just saying it, like can help you again to remind you what is actually true and what is actually like things to be grateful for. Again, not in a Pollyanna way, but just gratitude can help, I think, move out of a lot of disappointment or dismay.
Yeah, and I think this is why people often recommend gratitude journaling, either first thing in the morning or right before bed. It helps you kind of ground in what you've received rather than perhaps what you lack. So that makes a lot of sense. Maybe I can pin another one on that one, which is sometimes I find it helpful to complain. Now, this is probably not great for mindset, but what I mean, the context I mean it in the same way in which we want to, as Catholics and Christians, pin our gratitude to God who loves us and has provided for us in many ways, which we may not be taking stock of in a given moment. We can also authentically tell God what we're feeling in a given moment. So maybe it actually makes sense to do the gratitude piece and then the complaining piece. But I remember Scott Hahn said the Psalms teach us how to complain in a way that is God pleasing. So we can look at our circumstances and be like, God, yeah, this is actually really weighing on me. This is really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm bringing this to you because you are the source of all that I've received. And you are the source of all that is good. So Lord, this is hard. And I want to bring that to you. Or this is hard for me. So I think complaining can be helpful too in the right context. It's just simply, then I can say, at least, rather than inwardly grumbling all along, why does this happen to me, whatnot, I can know that I've brought that to God. I've brought him my authentic self. Do you want me to pin another one? Or do you have one?
I have many,
Okay.
but we'll probably do just like one more each to kind of. So
one more each. Come on, I got a couple more.
Oh my word! I was like, we're gonna just do one each on this podcast and keep it really succinct. Yeah. Another one I have that can have some immediate, like I actually think this one is like immediate, is to do something physical. Mm-hmm. And that could be as simple as like, okay, just get up. So to use my example from this morning, like physically get up, physically get your circulation moving. So do some lunges, do some squats, like literally just get up, jump up and down, do some jumping jacks type thing. But there is a very clear relationship between getting out of negative thoughts and doing more physical activity. Another thing that I really like to do that I receive from a somatic coach, it's called, and this is not weird, this is very in line with a Catholic worldview, but it's things like anything, this is called tapping, anything to get you out of just the cerebral focus, but into like, my body is here, I'm alive, I am present, right now. Another somatic exercise is dancing. So just like putting on some music and dancing.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. If I can, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this one. I don't want to get the stream taken down, so I won't be too explicit. But on the topic of physical, there's something that you can look up at, and this one is specific to married couples. That's who we mainly speak to. But there's something the Catholic Church refers to as the benefits of marriage. Oh my gosh, Josh. Now you might look at that because, again, in the same way in which depression can be isolating, in which, we can start to get stuck in our head, whatnot. There is a reality that there is a real and true connection with your spouse that is available to you in the right context. And sometimes we might think, I have to be in the perfect mindset for this.
No, you do not.
The same way in which exercise can bring you to a better mindset, getting cleaned up can bring you to a better mindset. Sometimes the reality of marital intimacy between spouses can help you dramatically in your mindset. I mean, at least I can say personally.
You don't have to extrapolate.
You don't mean to go longer? No. Maybe that's another video all its own. But that would be another one. And maybe I'll end on. Wait, now I forgot the other one because I got to the best one. What was the other one I was going to say?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we should just end there.
Anyway,
and on a high note.
I hope that these are very practical. These can be done in the moment. They do not require, like an hour-long coaching session. These are just very, very simple strategies when you feel like you are at the very pit and you can't move on. Just have these in your back pocket that you can draw on in any given moment.
Yep, I remember the last one. Spent some time with a friend. A buddy and I went out for Belgian ales this week, and it was a good experience. Not as great as the last one, but can still be very, very good for somebody who can, you can just be yourself with, be honest with, and even lament together and find hope together. So that's another one. This was a brief one. I also want to mention that we are in the process of fundraising for Persevere Together. If it's done soon, actually, whenever it's done, we'll put a link to it. We're developing a case for support. We have a deep desire to develop a video resource for couples that are experiencing mental illness. We really want to help preserve marriages, preserve families, help people even grow through processes which feel hopeless at times. So keep an eye out for that. And if you would be so kind as to consider supporting our mission, we would be so grateful for it. We believe it is so important, and we believe there's always hope and that you can persevere together.